Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered with Sid. I'm your host Sid Verma, and I just returned from a magnificent trip to India. I visited places like Hava Mahal, Jantar Mantar, the Red Fort, Rashtrapati Bhavan, Jagannath Temple, and honestly, the trip left me thinking a lot more than I expected. Every time I go to India, it always feels like such a sublime experience. The rickshaws, the street food, and the ambiance in every temple always captivates my heart. Growing up Indian American means you're always carrying those two identities at the same time. When India's cricket team takes the field, I feel true allegiance. Bumrah, Rohit, Kohli, those names all mean something to me. At the same time, I'm a Detroit sports fan through and through. I ride with my Lions, with Jared Goff and Dan Campbell making wild plays every Sunday. I celebrate the 4th of July with fireworks and Diwali with just as much pride. None of that ever felt contradictory to me. It just all felt normal. But being in India made me realize that living between two cultures is not the same as fully belonging to either. There were moments where I felt deeply connected, being around family, hearing the language, and recognizing those little habits and mannerisms that felt instinctive. And then there were moments where I felt like an outsider in a place that was supposed to be mine. I did not always know how to act. I noticed things locals did not stop to think about. I questioned things that had already been accepted as normal by everyone else. But at the same time, India itself felt like it was caught between identities too. One minute you're walking past luxury apartments, tech offices, and malls that could exist in any major global city. And the next, you're seeing people working just to survive the day. That contrast, it's not hidden. It's not separated by neighborhoods or by distance. It's right next to you at all times, and it's constantly visible. You see, India is not simply a developing country. It is a country developing unevenly. Parts of it are moving at full speed in the future, while others are being dragged along or left behind entirely. That tension is everywhere, in the streets, in the cities, and in daily life too. And here's the part that stuck with me the most. I realized that my American upbringing gave me the ability to see this clearly, but also reminded me of my distance. I was not shocked by what I saw, but I was unsettled. Not because this inequality exists, but because of how normalized it has become. And that forced me to put the lens back on America. We like to believe that inequality is a problem that exists somewhere else, somewhere less developed, somewhere far, far away. But the truth is, America has its own version of it. We just organize it better. We separate it into different neighborhoods, different school districts, different zip codes. But in India, that contrast is visible. In America, it is quieter, but just as real. Being Indian American put me in this strange middle position. I was close enough to feel connected, but far enough to see clearly. And that clarity is uncomfortable because once you start seeing inequality as a system rather than a coincidence, you cannot explain it away with simple ideas like hard work or motivation. India forced me to confront inequality in its most visible form. The top 1% in India control a massive share of the nation's wealth, while hundreds of millions rely on government food programs to meet basic needs. That gap is not hidden, it is lived next to, walked past. It's accepted as part of everyday life. And what disturbed me was not just the scale of inequality, but how functional it is. Society still moves, markets still operate, and life still goes on. That made me realize something unsettling. Inequality does not survive because people are unaware of it. It survives because systems are designed to absorb it. When I thought about America through that lens, I realized we do something different, not better. We distribute inequality more quietly. We frame it as individual failure or personal success. We talk about merit, grit, and choice while ignoring how deeply access determines your outcome. In America, your zip code often predicts your education. Your family income shapes your safety net. Opportunity exists, but it's unevenly placed. So when we say success is earned, the question becomes earned from where? Being Indian American made this contrast impossible to ignore. I was raised in a system that tells you effort leads to success, while witnessing a system where effort does not guarantee stability. Both are true at the same time, and that tension is where my understanding changed. These trips did not make me feel more Indian or American. It made me more aware of how narratives are built, about fairness, about progress, about who we consider deserving and why. Identity, I realized, is not something you resolve. It's something that sharpens the more you question the world around you. I did not come back with solutions, but I came back with a clearer understanding that inequality is not accidental. It's structured by systems. And once you start seeing systems instead of stories, you cannot go back to seeing the world the same way. If you have ever felt like you exist between cultures, or if travel has ever forced you to question ideas you once accepted as fact, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. This has been Unfiltered with Sid. I'll catch you in the next one.